This is going to be a fun event. Merriam-Webster says that fun is when something provides enjoyment, entertainment, or happiness. And we're here to do that today. We're going to start with some poetry. We're going to have 4 poets, then a break, and some more music from the SAS Jazz Group that we appreciate so much for being here. They love to play, and we'll have 4 more poets. And then at the end, we will have a lot of time left for you to buy CDs and books. The first poet is Gail Slayton.
Hello. Can you hear me? Yes. Do I need this lower? All right. Thank you. I will be reading from my book that's in the back, Self-Portraits of a Runaway Wife. And the first poem is called Satchel. I carry my memories like an old leather bag, worn out, drab, frayed at the edges. Once in a while, I open the satchel and gaze upon sepia pictures of faded faces, childhood's determined words, scribbled on scraps, stuffed into pockets, parents' reprimands echoing from the depths, tears and fears, shame and solitude, making myself small, invisible. I could drown in there, in the past mistakes, the what-ifs, the should-haves. But it's an old bag, falling apart at the seams. The contents don't look familiar anymore. Someone else's life, perhaps. It's a story not necessary to tell. I traded in at the Lost and Found for a glitzy bag, studded with tacky jewels and rainbow-colored streamers on the handle. Perhaps the contents are the same, but the bag makes me smile. And this next poem is Note to Future Generations. As we fill this time capsule for future generations, let's include hope, that shining star that shows us the way, glimmering with chance to do better, to choose the true path instead of the one of least resistance. The path that reminds us we're all in this together. From past generations, we add perseverance to weather the hardships faced by every generation. No escape for lessons to be learned. Embrace the challenge, work together. The solution is always there. From the poets and songwriters, we include unadulterated love, simple and clear, with notes about letting go and letting be. Choose the path of sweet surrender. Love is always the choice that will bring peace and joy. From our historians, pictures from past mistakes and poor choices, so future generations will never forget consequences of going unconscious, prodding them to stay awake, to notice patterns of darkness creeping in. Use confluence to create the world of their dreams instead of the world of their nightmares. We ritually close this capsule, imbuing it with our positive intentions, energy from each living soul, that the seeds of our children's children will take up the gauntlet and find the better way to live together in harmony and in attunement with nature to bring this world back into balance. They are our only hope. Wow. philosophical here. The game of life. He said, you are the Scotty dog in the Monopoly game of life. The problem is, you think the board is all there is. I was 27 when I got that big aha while going through EST, the first of many shared cathartic experiences which woke me up to life. Not that I didn't get a glimpse of what was to come while watching my mom and her sisters playing the Ouija board, talking to dead relatives. I knew there was something more when my brother nearly died. Then told us of walking in God's garden, noticing beautifully colored flowers, not a small feat for a blind man. And now, as this game of life is winding down, and players I have known are quickly disappearing, have I won or lost by being one to remain? Or did the others just get there sooner to the great beyond? Perhaps they just got to choose another playing piece in this game of life. Lastly, keys to life. I dreamed the answers. Surrounding me, a ring of keys. Key to happiness. Look inside. Follow inner knowing. Take the passionate path. Key to wealth. Give to others and accept what returns. Create a spiral of resonating energy. Key to love. Touch and be touched. Be the witness to another's life. Be the mirror to that soul. Key to life. Acknowledge the gift. Appreciate each moment. Remember, we are all one, experiencing the physical realm. Key to eternity. Leave seeds of hope in all hearts you've touched, lighting the way for others to follow. Thank
you. Our next poet is Sunshine Lutie. Sunshine is an appropriate name. She brings a ray of sunlight no matter where she goes. Her motto and way of living is getting through it all by writing and music. Sunshine, it's all yours.
Thank you, Howard. The poems that I'm going to share with you today are from the 5 books that I published that tell about my life, from the beginning until finding a way to live through all the things that have happened. So, I choose to sing. I'm in control of what I do, how I react to others too, how I react to thoughts inside. I'm in control. I can decide. Since music soothes my mind, I choose to sing. If I choose to count on others and I wait for life to start, in the biggest play called life, I'll never get apart. I can take control, devise a plan. If it fails, just plan again. And through it all, I can choose to sing. When I wake up, I could groan and drag myself from bed and say, I won't get up, go back to sleep instead. But I'll grab the chance to save her life. Got one more day to get it right. It feels so good when I choose to sing. Thank you. This one's a little more serious, and you might not like it as well. It's called End of Life. I wrote it after my mom died. When I can no longer function and when my body fails, I plan to be in control, despite what that entails. I will not coerce my family to suffer while I go. Neither husband nor children should be forced to suffer so. Before I can't take care of me, before I can't recognize you, I will choose to end it all because life is through. It seems so very strange to me that my plan is termed illegal. It's okay to put a dog to sleep, or even a sick seagull. Why would there be more kindness? Tell me, why should this be true? Why be more humane to animals than to me or you? I've seen too many times when family members near the end, they wouldn't choose to be there except for God's plan. What kind of plan is there, you ask? It seems so very sick. Whatever God they trust in, it's one heck of a dirty trick. Somewhere special, feeling serene, beauty surrounds me. The smell of evergreen. Beside me is the tallest tree. Wind chimes ring melodically, softly singing, loudly ringing. Silence, and then sweet music singing. A bit of moon in the daylight sky, pointed pine tree tops way up high. Mountain breeze flutters in the air. Had a glass of wine I didn't need because I was already there, in a happy place, a peaceful place, in a I think life is grand, don't you, kind of place. Maybe it's imaginary, and I'm not really there. Maybe I've traveled and arrived in a special somewhere. My wedding song to David. Because I found you, love the morning. We greet each other with a smile. With love, we wish each other well. Kiss goodbye and part for a while. When we see each other later, we greet so joyously. We talk of how our day progressed. We listen eagerly. Because I found you, love the evening. It doesn't matter what we do. It could be anything at all that includes me and you. Because I found you, love the nighttime. Together we're so right. We share ideas for more bright days and gently say goodnight. Every day's a new adventure, like a dream that's coming true. My heart is filled with music because I found you. Life is simply delightful because I found you. Gets a little more serious here. All I need is you. Don't need a new car with special options. Don't need fancy clothes. Don't need expensive dining. All I need is you. Don't need the ocean with hypnotic crashing waves. Don't need waterfalls with cascading raging torrents. Don't need my favorite peanut butter and jelly and grilled cheese sandwiches. All I need is you. Don't need to create stage shows. Don't need to publish books. Don't need to write or sing more songs. All I need is you. Don't need adventurous world travels. Don't need to excel at any sport. Don't need anyone else's admiration. All I need is you. Which led to, who am I? Who am I? 11 months after the loss of husband number 2, still searching for answers. Been traveling, vacation, sharing love with family and friends who wish me luck on my journey as I work to discover who I am. But the question still remains, who am I? Searching. looking for my passion, searching for my dream, examining my heart, my brain, can't find the right theme. Someday I might get it, though the path is dark, unknown. Now I have a headache, inspiration flown. I'll search again, maybe tomorrow. And finally, onward. Yes, I've found my passions. I'm making music and writing, exercising my mind and body, joy to my own life bringing. And when I want to relax, and when I want to do nothing, that's okay too. And for listening to my poetry, thank you.
Our next poet is Scott Glosso. Scott has used every form of poetry imaginable. He's extremely versatile, and the only thing greater than his versatility is his prolificness. He's now finishing his 18th book. Scott?
Well, I gotta say, it's wonderful to see a full room. I've read sometimes at Barnes & Noble to 2 people, and I've read at other venues with as many as 500. So you never know what's going to happen, but it's wonderful to be in the community and have this response. So I thank all of them. So I'm going to read from my latest book. It's my 18th, and it's the 6th I've written since I've been here, and I edited 2 other anthologies, too, in 8 years. So I have been busy. My wife says I write like I breathe, so I have no choice. So this is a poem written for her. It's called Days We Trade for No Ones. Near Amsterdam Station, you spoke 3 words. Umbrellas fell to the streets. Or that honeymoon night in Venice, and the singers Alila. And do you recall that day in Delos, the albatross soaring in skies? Or wading to shoulder height in Iceland's blue lagoon? And how enthralled we were, witnessing Bard on the Beach, Vancouver, as sailboats cruised between tent flaps. And can you forget Kauai's gardens, or Sedona's painted deserts, or Gibraltar's command of the coast as thunder and lightning raged? Or fail to remember Budapest, waves on the Danube, silver and gold, as we stood on the riverboat's deck, slowly sipping our cognac? 10,000 days pass, pins on maps multiply, facial lines deepen. Yet as clouds migrate and hands clasped, we trade these days for no ones. So I think of Vic, you want to read that. So, okay, so this is called the Aleph. And I'll just describe what it is. The Aleph was about 2 or 3 centimeters in diameter, but all cosmic space was there, with no diminution in size. Each thing was infinite because I could clearly see it from every point in the universe. And that's a description by Jorge Luis Borges. So this is the Aleph. The Dead Star's light still illuminates night. The moment that was, is, and will be connected. Time bats an eye. The first warm kiss on the lips meets the last breath escaping the body. Past lives, future visions collapse in the moment. I stand by the sea as the tides change. As I stand on the mountain, snow at my feet. As I stand before a stele in Rome, or feel the dew of Aaron's grass wet between my toes. My mother's blood flows through my body. My father's lungs pump air in and out. I am a babe in arms, a child on the verge of language, a man strong in his prime, a weathered elder. At what instant does one become another? We are dancers in a cosmic circle, attuned to spherical music. And those we loved remain with us, the space dust of cells in a soul. And one of my favorite poets is Pablo Neruda, and he wrote a volume called The Book of Questions, so naturally I had to come up with some questions of my own, and that's what this poem is about. So it's questions after Neruda. Do the flowers of Kauai give their scent to the rains of Seattle? Echoes of lovemaking, are they still to be heard in that cave by the sea? What secret does the dolphin own for that Mona Lisa smile? After the logger has cut the last tree, will he become a fisherman? Does a song liquefy time or merely catapult memory? Where do ladybugs sleep in the winter? The wing beats of Canadian geese, how many to Tierra del Fuego? If I can touch you with my mind, why not with wandering hands? When elephants die, where do they leave their bones? What map did the butterflies use to find their Mexican valley? Why are Mondays blue and Saturdays purple? And why are we troubled by the color of skin? Why doesn't the lion consume the cell phone? Does rain converse with the river? And in what language does water speak? Can the blind man hear them, galloping horses in the clouds? If peace is heaven's boon, why do the clergy wear gold? Is it true that plants sway to the music of Mozart? Or what does the whale sing in his ocean kingdom? Was God jesting when he made the absurd platypus? The odor of death, why so unbearably sweet? This one's called Let Love Like. Let love like the shallow, sun-drenched sea, blinding in its brightness. Love like the ocean, deep as indigo on a moonless night. Love like waves, music in its sound, its sacred chant, its give and take of yearning. Love like the silence of lost ships or drowned men, or love like Copland's rapturous fanfare. Hit me hard as a hammered nail. Let it come, I can take it. And this is the last one I'm going to read, so as not to take up too much time. But recently, the University of Cambridge did a study to find out how babies learn language. It was always thought that they would put one sound together and then another. And by accumulating sounds, that's how they learn language. And then they found out it wasn't that, it was rhythm. They could recognize rhythm and knew when a word ended and when it didn't. They did 3 separate tests in the first 18 months of a child's life, and they found out that music was what made it. So, this is what you gotta do. Sing to your baby, mothers, while she lies in your womb, upon arrival, on each day thereafter. It's not sound alone, but rhythmic patterns which waken the brain to speech. If your register is low, sing your mellow alto. If high, a soprano lullaby. And fathers too must sing. Let bass or tenor, in sotto voce, enter your child's ear. Let notes become words, harmonics fuse sound. Let nursery rhymes matter in the pitter-patter of rhythm. Infants can hear vocal stress, can guess where one word ends and another begins. The seed of language is sown this way. So sing your joy to a soul reborn, to bestow the gift of speech. And if your key's slightly off, who will know but you? Thank you.
Ellen Mabee is our next poet. Her books are extremely well received, loved by many, and offer paths of how we can get through this thing we call life. She combines music as well as words.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here and honored. This is amazing. I hope you can hear me just fine. Can you?
Yes.
Thank you, thank you. Being an artist means the recession will always be there and has always been here. While you sit not writing screenplays, not taking meetings, just writing love letters to Van Gogh's beard, not wearing a watch, not caring who's on the cover of People magazine. Being an artist means you might sleep awfully late. You might choose totally different things as the 4 major food groups. Being an artist might mean you feel depressed and make others feel distressed when they are near you. Being an artist means you probably memorize the aisles at the 99-cent store. You probably have a $12 service charge each month for low funds in your checking account. Being an artist means you don't feel you have the right to remain silent. Being an artist might make people think you're on drugs. Being an artist means people think your closet is full of turtlenecks and mood rings. People assume you play harmonica. People assume you know all the words to every song released in the 1960s. Being an artist means you do. Being an artist means serenity, intensity, sometimes simultaneously. Being an artist means you have the power of civil disobedience on the tip of your tongue. Being an artist means shrinking tie-dye t-shirts because you were thinking about a poem and didn't notice the washer was on hot water. Being an artist is an active verb, a noun, a consonant, an adjective in a world full of chaotic life sentences. Being an artist is not necessarily a choice. People. There are people who hold an abridged tablet of the 10 Commandments in the space between their teeth and jaw. There are people who come into a room with stardust on their breath like a lullaby of backward halitosis. There are people who hold the planets together by clicking their Achilles heels 3 times. There are people who skywrite without an airplane, without a net. There are people who twirl a broom like a rodeo for the sheepish. There are people who have bowling parties in their pajamas while the rest of the world seems like a pin waiting for an angel to step out onto the dance floor. There are people who seem to have eyeball upon eyeball like gumballs in an arcade of vision. There are people who walk into a room, a thermometer preceding them. There are people who wear their weather like perfume. There are people who know the cuckoo is a state bird of most states of mind. There are people who went to the same high school and spent each recess in the lost and found room uttering their phonetic name. There are people who will have conversations deep as deathbed soliloquies and never speak again. There are people who make whatever street they're on Telegraph Avenue, 1964. There are people who write a shopping list in hieroglyphics. There are people who look up at the sun 8,000 times a day and lack an eclipse. There are people who drag questions from the tongue like photos 1 second before the crisp of a fire. There are people who has nothing and your heart sits like a blank check in a bookstore that sells only elegy. There are people with a little past behind their ears. There are people with the newscast on their eyebrow. There are people, no matter how many apples they held, teachers resented them. There are people who ring many doorbells, but won't let themselves in. There are people who light candles half the week and swallow swords the rest. There are people who memorize the footprints made by the snow. There are people who dine on shivers. There are people who chew on icicles all year round. There are people who pray with the nostalgia of baseball. There are people who laugh at life, open-mouthed like a kiss. And so that's what I'll read. It's weird, I haven't years. It's nervous. But you guys are very warm. It's a different feeling. This is called 2016, the year the 20th century finally died. The year so many musicians died, and the year freedom seemed to be moving underground. Caskets filled the air. We live in times of turmoil, clocks speeding quicker and quicker. Middle age seems old, seniors seem timeless. There's a lethargy in the way people move. There's a liturgy on the tip of our tongues. There's something in the morning cereal. It looks like newsprint. There's something in the evening news that seems like farce. As though this couldn't be real. This over-the-top peek into tragedy's eyelid. This shiver that lives in our psyche like snow. We ski into another winter. The world is on a ski lift. Cocoa is leaving its space around a cup. We stir and it's January. We stir and it's the 20th century. We stir and it looks like it's black and white newsreels. History tries to repeat itself as the people in power like sequels. People wear the hero mask, the death mask, the face and the heart. People make choices, the stores sell everything. One of the strongest songs from Rodgers and Hammerstein, You've Got to Be Carefully Taught. Prejudging is the name of the game so many households play. Play Rummy Cube instead. Play solitaire, don't be influenced by peers. 1 minute to midnight, but people don't know if the year will leave us dangling from some threshold. History said, look at me with your eyes of flame. Burn my pain in your memory. Walk into the libraries and kiss all the spines. The earth is spinning whether people stay on it or not. What if earth falls in the forest and nobody's there to hear it? The last person on earth will carry a pencil. That is why earth has survived this long. Thank you so very much.
Okay, we're ready to restart with 4 more poets, starting with one of my favorite human beings, Dennis Glauber.
When I retired, one of the first things I did was to join a writing group, and one of the first assignments we had was to compose a sonnet. By sonnet, I just explained that the first line is a nod to what I consider the finest sonnet not written by William Shakespeare, and that is John Milton's sonnet on his blindness, which begins, when I consider how my light is done. When I consider Milton's not my name, and happily today I can record that being neither blind, nor halt, nor lame, poetic license now I can afford. Therefore the sonnet form I shall essay, not Petrarch-like, but homage to the bard. Ambition 'tis that drives me in this way, no primrose path this, perilous and hard. First stanza's lines, they rhyme A, B, A, B. C, D, C, D's the pattern in the next. E, F, E, F's the rhyme in stanza 3. Then G, G lines, just 2, complete the text. Success? No way. Don't bet upon it. There's more, much more. Here is a sonnet. We spent a whole semester once on reading John Steinbeck's masterpiece, The Grapes of Wrath. That stimulated me to write this. On reading The Grapes of Wrath, or The Statue of what? The huddled masses who yearned to breathe free, how lucky they were they came o'er the sea. Had they made the arduous journey by road, they'd have met the grim fate of the family Joad. It was, okay, you're in, come unburden your load, and not, okay, you're out, for the likes of Tom Joad. California made clear, and their methods were cruel, from the slashing of wages to the high price of fuel, from the beatings and cheatings and swung baseball bat, slim pickings, knife stickings, and the unwelcome mat. If you're poor, you're a threat. So understand that you just don't meet the criteria on Liberty's statue. But history rolled on, as we all know it must. The country survived that dread bowl of dust. And one thing is clear as the story unfolds. This time it is Steinbeck for whom Nobel tokens. Along the line at the San Francisco Opera House stimulated this little verse. Avoid those endless restroom lines. There are always too few loos. Go rather at the place one dines. There's the option you should choose. What's more, you'll heed those warning signs to mind your P's and Q's. Seattle Chamber Music Festival one year had to move to a new venue because of building going on at Lakeside School where we normally worked, and it wasn't an uneventful experience. Of my many memories, one of the best concerns a certain night at Shawcrest, when there we all sat with our programs before us, astonished to hear an unscheduled chorus. That year, our tenure at Lakeside had ceased. Their builders had forced us a mile to the east. The show must go on as the golden rule, so we settled in at Shawcrest School. Our musicians played with their usual feeling until they were joined up there in the ceiling by voices that kept getting higher and higher. The festival now had a heavenly choir. Some of us said, hush, others just said, shoo, and others just shrugged. What else can you do? When asked how long they meant to be part of the score, by way of reply, they just quoth, evermore. One thing I will say for our feathered friends, they sure know how to pursue their own ends. So let's add to each program the following words. Sometimes chamber music really is for the birds. On a trip to China about 30 years ago, I was stimulated to write some words, new lyrics to old songs. Our tour leader had come on board with a upper respiratory infection, which he generously shared with all of us. And so I had this little song, coughing and wheezing and choking and gasping, snorting and sneezing and croaking and rasping, trying to loosen the mucus that clings These are a few of my least favorite things. Lots of sore tonsils and lots of red noses, all sorts of medicines in increasing doses. How to dispose of the mucus that clings. These are surely my least favorite things. But it's not bronchitis or laryngitis, it could be worse. So we don't make a fuss because we're riding a bus and not a hearse. Of course, the bus was alive with the sound of mucus. And of course, there was the inevitable, what could be labelled Mao's revenge. So with apologies to Bernstein, I feel shitty, so shitty, I feel shitty and crappy, oy vey, what a pity, it's 10 times a day. And I think I've exceeded my 7 minutes.
All right, next is Patricia Bailey. Poetry is a little bit new to Patricia. She discovered her poetic talents in a trip to Italy to a poetry conference. And her first works will be published this coming fall.
Wow, this is really nerve-wracking. But I am delighted. I moved here and I was like, I need to find poets, and I found them. And so I'm so delighted. I'm thrilled that you're here. So I'm going to start off with sad, and then it'll get peppier because I kind of have a dark side. So anyway, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. This one's called Dishes of Stories, Lies, and Gossip. There are battles in my family built on words. We are a vocal group, slinging wisecracks, jabs, and statements so absurd we laugh with cringe. Stories, lies, and gossip revealed as we gather for whatever holiday we're celebrating. Our cone of silence around a potluck table of food prepared in our private kitchens to serve this holiday gathering. This is called getting together, catching up. It's the feeding ground for words that will keep the wars between us. Words building walls so rigid and misunderstood. We never sit around a beautifully set table anymore saying grace and passing platters to share while making eye contact with our family member. I miss those meals with the old-timers. That's what we called them. Their words were spoken one at a time, and if misunderstood, clarified as you wiped your mouth with a hand-embroidered cloth napkin. Today, our family gatherings are backyard barbecues and potlucks, with brief chatter as we pile food on our flimsy Dixie paper plates we then look for a place to sit with. We've become pods separated from one another. These pods are where the wars of my family are cooked up, revealed by body language, facial expressions, and hand gestures. Stories, lies, and gossip, so jumbled and disjointed as the potluck grub on our flimsy paper plates. Hopefully you don't have those kind of things.
Oh yeah, I do.
These next two are were written when I was in Italy this past summer, and these will be published in the latest book. This one's called Concetta's Letter, and Concetta was my grandmother. A letter arrived from Domodossola. Signora, the postman shouts. He knows I've been waiting to hear from my husband. He hands me the white envelope that is moist and flimsy from its oppressive hot journey from the north. It's another heat wave in June. I sit on the step of our home and anxiously read his words that are letting me know it's time. I am to pack up my 2 daughters, Maria and Rosa, to join him and my son in Domodossola. This is the next step in our journey to America. They both have been there working in the tunnel, project connecting Italy to Switzerland. My mother, Mariana, sees me on the step. Her face exchanges a worried look as she knows this letter I've been waiting for, maybe the letter that sends her daughter away. Mariana has already said goodbye to 5 of her children who left Italy for better lives. I look into my mother's eyes and I say, it's time. We know what this means. Lascia stare. A distraction. Yes, let's not talk about it. Let's move on. What needs to be done. This is the way of my women family. The next one's about my grandfather. In our Italian dialect, he is called Papu. That's our term of endearment for grandfather. And so this is titled Papu. You sacrificed so much for us to be in America. When you left your wife and daughters, did you miss them? When the jobs you took of hard physical labor took its toll on your body, did you want to give up? When you left Calabria, did you cry? Did your self-esteem get bruised when living in America? Were you given the chance to learn English, or were you focused on working every day to provide for your family? I think I know the answers. Were you saddened by the loss of green space at your American walk-up apartment? I think I know the answer. I want you to know that my childhood eyes saw you, your devotion to our family as sole provider. Leaving every day in your grayish-colored work clothes bought from JCPenney or Sears and Roebuck. The scratched and dented lunch box that held the lovingly prepared food from my nonna, your wife. I loved that box. You would return home hours later, covered in dust, worn and exhausted. Your hair tousled by the movement of your day that you don't get to notice. After a hot shower, you return to the family, cleaned and refreshed. The smell of Old Spice sending out the invitation of hugs from your beloved children. I would nuzzle up to you, feeling the ribbed cotton t-shirt against my cheek, your strength and muscles holding me close, your crucifix necklace hanging above my head. I felt loved, I felt safe, I felt at home. The home I call America, the home you so graciously gave me as your gift. I hope my life is a gift to you. My way of living in this complicated and beautiful world make you proud. Grazie mille.
All right.
And then this one's just kind of light and happy. I'm happy when the morning sunlight peeks into my bedroom window calling me to wake up. I'm happy when fresh brewed coffee rouses my nose to its scent. I'm happy when hummingbirds and monarchs visit my garden. I'm happy when friends leave phone greetings in voice. I'm happy when a monthly bill shows a credit. I'm happy when filling my car at the gas pump and it finishes on a perfect number. I'm happy when my dreams are visits from an ancestor whose eyes meet mine. I'm happy when babies give me a smile. I'm happy when my seeds germinate effortlessly, choosing life. I'm happy when songs deliver memories from long ago. I'm happy when in a hurry, parking spots appear. I'm happy when the separated sock finds its mate. I'm happy when birds visit my window and linger. I'm happy when the tide is low on a sunny day. I'm happy when a handwritten note finds its way to my mailbox. And I'm happy when store-bought flowers last for weeks. I'm happy when the nightly news is void of trouble. I'm happy when sleeping spoon style with my husband. And I'm happy when anyone tells me, I love you.
Our next poet is Nancy Brown. Nancy is the president of the Pub Club. She is a hard worker. She is responsible for this, assigning Patricia and Patricia assigning me, and we had to make it work because she's sitting right here. She is a prose writer, and she's published, and she's also new to poetry. So I understand this is your introduction to this world.
Thank you, Howard. It's almost nerve-wracking being in this fine group of poets. I'm not published. I just started writing poetry this year. Why? Because it was quick and easy, I guess. This first poem was an assignment from a class that I took called Guided Autobiography. And we have a couple of the guided autobiography instructors here today, and they're going to be putting on a workshop in November, so don't miss it. This is called Where I Am From. I am from a life well lived, yet also a life of longing. I am from a mother who struggled with so many heartaches, to one who became my role model and hero. I'm from a biological father who didn't want me, to winning the best dad a girl could ever want, who adopted me to be his forever daughter. I am from my mother to becoming a mother. I am from rejection, being turned down and put down, to moving on to acceptance, becoming someone special and proud of it. I am from someone's in the kitchen with Dinah, and olives on the fingers of every child at the table. I'm from lemon jello cake and M&Ms at every family celebration. I am from laughter and joy to sorrow and loss. I'm from a lifetime of learning to can't get enough. I'm from wanting to try something new to tossing it by the wayside. I'm from a student who didn't like to read to loving writing, even publishing a book. I am from hating sports growing up to learning to ski, play tennis, and pickleball. I'm from becoming a special education teacher to teaching students from preschool through university. I am from the sister of a terminally ill brother to becoming a national board certified exceptional needs specialist. I'm from thinking I'd be a career teacher to taking a detour, building my own travel company. I'm from returning to teaching to finalizing my life's work as an executive assistant. I am from trust, hope, and wonder to believing in God while still searching for my purpose. This next one is called Courageous or Crazy. Approaching my twilight years, pondering some seemingly out of character experiences I've had in this life, I wonder, am I courageous or crazy? Going to the movies with friends, maybe home late, I told my parents. Don was getting his pilot's license, so we flew to Palm Springs for dinner instead. That little white lie led to being grounded for a very long time. Learning to ski, a dream since childhood, became a reality at 29. Not easy learning on ice the first day, followed by deep powder the next, yet persevering for 50 years, skiing over 30 resorts throughout the western United States and Canada. After 15 years as a special education teacher, I took a detour with a group of teenage tennis players to Australia, New Zealand, and Tahiti for a month. When, in spite of several challenges, I began a new career as owner of Worldwide Sports Exchange, traveling the world with junior athletes, until change hit once again. My courageous self kicked in, or was it a little crazy midlife crisis? I couldn't take it any longer. Marriage on the decline, keeping up with the Joneses and the concrete jungle, I simply ran away from California, leaving everything, my husband, house, furniture, car, job, dogs, and parents, for a better life in Alaska, where I started all over again. Renting a room for $200 a month, on to buying a condo, thanks for an unexpected down payment gift from my ex-husband. Then to owning my own home, free and clear, following the death of my parents. Determined not to return to teaching, a friend pleaded, special ed teachers are in short supply. So I returned, this time to the high school level, becoming Alaska's first National Board Certified Exceptional Needs Specialist. Both my children, now parents, me, a long-distance grandma, just wasn't working. Following retirement number 1 from Alaska, moving to Illinois for 10 years, then retirement number 2, and even 3, I was on the move again. Where was I headed, I wondered? Following nearly 40 years as a teacher and 21 in cold climates, the draw to return to my home state pulled me back to sunny Southern California. With no regrets, family now visits me here in the Golden State. Our generational commonality continues. Me skiing with kids and grandkids from both families, for my 70th birthday. Then courage and craziness kicked in again when on my 75th I jumped out of an airplane. Next year for my 80th, God willing, I will once again ski with my kids, grandkids, and new daughter-in-law. Who knows what courage or craziness is yet to find me and be discovered. Whatever it may be, I will be ready.
Our next and last poet is a very special person, one of the most beautiful people I know. Peggy was the founder of this pub club.
It's not easy coming after so many brilliant poets. But before I recite my poem, I wanted to tell you something funny that happened to me today. I walked in my kitchen and all the towels were on the floor and on the furniture, and my 3 cats were staring at me. And I said, "Who made this mess?" And the kitten said, "Me." Ow. True story. Anyway, the poem is A New Beginning by me. In the beginning, there was peace. There was love. We were kind and understanding. Then came hate, jealousy, greed, everyone for themselves. Guns, all kinds of weapons, wars for any reason. Angry words, never forgotten. We raped the earth and made it a cesspool of deadly disease. We were breathing our very last breath when suddenly, all of a sudden, understanding. We felt love, and the world was new again, lovely. But was it too late? No, not if we care. And that's it.